Do you think your kids will be super kids or just normal kids? Shit.
What is it like racing World Cup compared to International? I would say they're two races that are in a totally different boat. In a World Cup, you're battling all the way down until, I mean, no matter what position you're in, there's always someone there right on your wheel chasing you for a spot. Whereas in Australia, it spreads out fairly quickly. We obviously still have a lot of talented riders, but yeah, they're like apples and oranges. They're two completely different races, and but still both very tough.
Is Nino Schurter a real person or is he in fact a machine? There's a high chance that he is a machine. You've got a really strong finish in races, but you keep getting blown away at the start because of the fanatic pace set by Nino. What changes can be made to your training regime to ensure you can follow that pace and stay in touch with the leaders so you are always in the contention for a podium? Well, I think, yeah, obviously a few things have to be changed in my training, but I think this season it was always, like, obviously my best result before this season was 19th, so I think when you put it in comparison, you know, getting that front row start and being able to go kind of hard and sort of stay with them for the first half lap, but then they've been doing it for a lot longer than me at that pace, so obviously I have to get into my rhythm pretty early on, or otherwise I suffer sort of later. And I think it's not the fact that I come home strong. My lap times are pretty much within 15 seconds from lap 1 to lap 7, so yeah, obviously if I want to get on the podium more often, I do need to change a few things, and I definitely know what needs to be done to do that. So I think that's a positive, and yeah, so hopefully that's one thing I've just got to work on, and hopefully it can come, you know, the more time I spend with going out with those guys, the more time that I can, you know, hopefully once or twice every now and again I'll be able to stay with them as well. Oh.
Who does all the cooking? Me, hands down.
What does your training week look like? Well, at the moment it's a lot different to what it was a month or so ago. So at the moment, yeah, pretty much a lot of couch surfing, not too much. Just built our bikes up yesterday, so they've been sitting in the garage for the past 3 weeks. In the World Cup season, it's a lot more intense than this. We probably do 2 sessions a day for about 5 days a week, and another 2 days obviously recovery. So yeah, we do about 12 sessions a week. Sort of varies between probably 2.5 to 5 or 6 hours on the bike a day. So yeah, it's a lot different. Would you ever wear baggies in a race like Marco Fontana? You know, I think baggies is just slowing you up and making you too hot, so no, I definitely wouldn't wear baggies. Who is the most aggressive rider on the circuit? I'd probably have to say Marco Fontana.
What was the single biggest benefit you feel you gained out of being part of the Trek Factory racing team this year? I think that's something that you can't really say is just one thing. Obviously the factory support with the team mechanic and the soigneur with the massage and all the logistics being taken care of, that I would sort of consider as one big thing, and that would be it. And then there's also just the team vibes, having such talented athletes to ride alongside. Not just me and Dan this year, we had Emily Batty and Annie Last with us the whole season as well, which was really good. And yeah, just the team vibes. But the one biggest thing is the support on the race weekend, which, you know, not touching your bike except for when you're going to ride it, no washing, no maintenance, or changing of tyres was probably the biggest help. Did you remember to vote in the federal election? Yes, thank you to my mum.
Your front wheel was a little out of shape by the end of the race in Elmstadt. Do you remember what happened? No, I don't actually. I didn't actually know it was out of shape until all the guys sort of giving me a bit of shit at the end of the race.
What advice would you give to a 16-year-old girl wanting to follow in your footsteps? That's a tough one because, you know, I definitely had some ups and downs growing up and into mountain biking. A few times I had sort of a coach that would put the pressure on a little more than what I was ready for, and I think, with being a young girl, it's definitely, you have to be careful to not put too much pressure on, but keep the encouragement going. There's not a lot of young girls racing mountain bikes at the moment, which makes it really tough. So people see one girl with a lot of potential coming through, and they really want to push them along. But I think the best thing is definitely to let the girls do it in their own time, and when they feel they're ready to step up the training and whatnot, then always support them. But I think the most important people to have around you are your family. They're the ones you can always fall back on, and just the biggest thing is to always be having fun and enjoying mountain biking. What's yours? After Absat, how did you approach the rest of the season?
Yeah, well, I guess a lot changed after the first race, but I guess a lot sort of didn't as well. I really tried to, not get too carried away and keep my goal. Obviously at the start of the season, my goal was to try and finish the majority in the top 20, and if I could get close to the top 10, that'd be really good. So I kept that in mind and really tried not to get too carried away, but at the same time, I think you do need to adjust your approach on the race, I guess. Instead of being sort of content being in the 20s or wherever that may be, I think you really got to be looking to try and, not get too intimidated or not let the position sort of dictate where you're riding. So if you pretty much just I guess I learned not to hold back too much and try and just fight for my position, whether that's fighting for the wheel at the very front or in 10th or 20th position. So I guess that was the biggest change.
What's your power song pre-race training, or do you just listen to the sweet sounds of crushing dirt under your tyres? Michael Jackson is probably my pump up man.
What's the worst thing you've ever eaten the night before a race? Probably this year in China, actually. I'm not actually sure what I ate. Kind of like a meaty, bony soup.
What's the plans for next year? Obviously, two of the biggest things on the calendar next year is the World Cup in Cairns. Being a home World Cup in Australia, that's very high on the priority list. I really want to win the national championships this year as my first year elite. That would be really special, and I think that would not just mean a lot to me, but also to the team. And then Commonwealth Games is another big goal of mine. It'll be tough. I'm really hoping to get a medal, but I think the stars will definitely have to align on the day. Yeah,
my plans for next year, obviously, the World Cups again. Obviously, they're the main goal for the team, and obviously myself as well. So hopefully we can keep getting a few good results in that. Obviously, next year being Commonwealth Games that's a really big goal. I've never been to a Commonwealth Games, and I think we've got a really good chance of getting hopefully more than one medal there. So that's a really big goal. And okay, how many leather-bound books do you own, and what does your new home smell of? Well, leather-bound books, I'm trying to think if we even have one in here. I don't actually think we do. As for the smell, I guess it's fairly new at the moment. We haven't had much time to live in it, so I don't think we've contaminated it too much.
And what is your favourite comfort food? I would say either Kingsley's chips, bit of KFC, but my favourite dinner is definitely roast lamb.
Who cleans the dishes? Well, luckily enough we have a dishwasher and we don't have to do too many dishes, but I don't know who would do the most. If we didn't have a dishwasher, I'd say plastic plates would be the go. But I don't know, we'd probably just take in turns, really.
Do you think the current system of start grid placement is fair, or do you think it should be revised? It's a tough one. I think, the UCI are definitely trying to protect the riders who are in the sort of top 20 or top 10 positions. So if they have an injury or something happens throughout the season, they're still getting the first 2 or 3 grid row positions. But I think the system that sort of has benefited Dan and I, especially last year, was that your ranking in the World Cup would be your start position in the next race, and so it gave you an opportunity to move forward, and it gives the developing riders a chance to move up. So I'm sort of all for that, because I definitely think the top riders can sort of fend for themselves, and they have the ability to move forward even when they're put in the second or third or fourth row. And I definitely think the leader of the World Cup should always wear the number 1 plate. Do you have an off-season, and if so, does that mean you can drink and party like animals for a while? That's definitely something we all look forward to at the end of the season.